Anyone with even a limited knowledge of famed Colombian author Gabriel Garcia Marquez and his magnum opus 100 Years of Solitude will immediately notice his influence on the 2021 Disney film Encanto. The magical realism characteristic of Marquez is obvious in the film. Both stories are set in a fictionalized town cut off from the outside world, centering on a large home housing a multi-generational family. The drama of both families have clear connections to Colombian history and politics. They even share authoritative matriarchs, mysterious written prophecies, and yellow butterflies. So naturally, there are many thematic connections to Marquez's masterpiece. And to me, the most interesting is the role that memory plays in the film, an idea that was always front and center for Marquez. I think that Encanto says a lot about the power and the potential of memory, both for individuals and collectively for a family or community. Encanto opens with a memory, a flashback telling of the origin of the family's home. Evoking imagery of civil war that is sadly all too common in Colombian history, we hear how Alma, the family's abuela, lost her husband to this violence, and how this experience gave birth to the miraculous candle that blessed them with their house and their magical gifts. And so their home and their perpetually lit miracle, synonymous with the family's identity, are specifically linked not just to a memory, but to tragedy and trauma. Alma, like the matriarch Ursula from 100 Years of Solitude, works tirelessly to keep the family together and retain the family's greatness, or as she sings in the beginning, to keep the miracle burning. However, their home, despite their miraculous blessings, has not developed perfectly. Many of the grandchildren feel stuck under the weight of their family name. Mirabel, the film's protagonist and third-generation Madrigal, was not blessed by a gift. And we learn that there has been a collective effort to forget the memory of Bruno, Mirabel's uncle.
We don't talk about Bruno.
This is a move very close to the heart of Marquez, who often wrote of his country and culture's collective memory. He also frequently drew characters who willfully forget their traumatic past. Mirabel's lack of a magical gift sets her apart from her family, but this also seems to make her the most perceptive Madrigal. Perhaps this is why she is the earliest to see the fractures in her family's seemingly perfect world, signified of course by the cracks appearing in the house. Her journey, unlike archetypal heroes who physically leave home and return with a gift, is one that takes her into the psyches of her various family members and eventually into the collective identity of her family as a whole. This is most notably seen when Mirabel explores her Uncle Bruno's mysterious bedroom, as she makes her way down sand dunes and past imagery suggestive of native Colombian tombs. It is as if she is traveling through the sands of time and memory and into the furthest reaches of her culture and family history. When she finds Bruno, he is living in the crawl spaces of the house, another evocative image. Due to the painful truths Mirabel's prophetic uncle reveals to the family and community, he has been cast out and banished to the dark crawl spaces of their minds.
Yeah, my gift wasn't helping the family, but I love my family, you know?
This is why he is now imagined as a sinister, malevolent figure. To use a phrase from Marquez's novel, he has been relegated to the attic of bad memories. Bruno himself is crucial to the film's exploration of the potential of memory, as well as more connections to Marquez, and not just because of this funny nod.
Well, because she's his aunt and she has amnesia, so she can't remember that she's his aunt. You see, I say it's like a very forbidden kind of...
I don't understand.
While he has been forgotten in the past, through his gift he holds the keys to the future.
Wait, have you been in here patching the cracks?
Bruno is also reminiscent of the character Melquiades from 100 Years of Solitude, the bearded gypsy-turned-ghost who possesses strange technologies and mystical knowledge. The mysterious parchments of Melquiades, like Bruno's glass panes, turn out to be in the end a kind of prophetic history of the town. One of his central prophecies, which imagines the town of Macondo as a glass city, has particular resonance to Bruno's visions. First, the glass hints at the town's fragility, like Bruno's glass pane that depicts the crumbling of the Casa Madrigal. In addition, the glass is reflective. This meant in part for Marquez that the turmoil of Macondo reflected his own perspective on the turmoil of Colombia. In Encanto, the reflective green glass of Bruno's prophecies tends to reflect back these visions of the future on the recipients themselves, causing them to look at themselves and their own agency. This, I think, is the most important function of this character when it comes to the family's collective memory. Bruno highlights the tendency of people who are afraid of an unclear or imperfect future to repress the past and refuse to change. This is the case in the first example in the song We Don't Talk About Bruno, as Pepa Madrigal essentially causes the prophecy of a rainy wedding to come true. The prophecies of both Isabella and Dolores end up being dependent on their own agency to shape. And this, of course, is the case for Mirabel, as Bruno's prophecy puts the need for restorative action on her.
The family, the encanto, the fate of the miracle itself, it's all gonna come down to you.
But the climax and the thematic heart of the film swing back to Alma and the Madrigal's foundational memory. She is the person that swallows the toughest pill in terms of her resistance to change. And as is illuminated in the beautiful song about the dos oruguitas, or two caterpillars, that must adapt to a changing world apart from one another, what seems to have been holding Alma back from leaning into change is her inability to truly move on from this trauma and the memory of her husband. It is Mirabel's courage in confronting her and Alma revisiting this tragic memory on the shores of the same river, that chaotic threshold, which act as the catalyst for her renewal.
I thought we would have a different life. I thought I would be a different woman.
That is the true meaning of the candle, this high-placed focus of veneration and identity. What Alma is blessed with in the wake of her husband's tragic death is her blossoming family and her agency, her ability to live on and establish a home. This memory, like all painful memories, had the potential to stifle her joy and love for others, and she seems to have coped with her trauma by exalting the idea of the Madrigals over her precious children and grandchildren themselves. I think the case could easily be made that there's some generational trauma at work as well. But it is also this memory that holds the potential to make Alma realize the immense preciousness of each one of her family members. This is probably my favorite aspect of the film, the way it celebrates memory's power, especially a ritualized act of engaging in a memory. Within our families, communities, and even our cultures, these kinds of acts bind us to one another, and they can act as fuel for deep identity formation and personal transformation. And while it's true that the film's ending is more Disney-fied than Marquez's complicated and ambiguous masterpiece, its resolution is still powerful. In the scene of the family's triumphant rebirth, Alma, as the matriarch, leads the family in bringing the repressed memory of Bruno into the light, accepting the inevitability of change despite a painful past, embracing weakness and imperfection, and realizing that each member of their family is miraculously valuable and worthy of love.